Hello, Prime Media audiences. This is Ladette, your host, and I'm here joined with Imani, Yohani Paulos. I'm really honored to be in the same studio with you, Imani. Thank you for joining me today. Just want to give you a brief introduction. Imani is born in Tanzania, spent over 14 years in Washington, D.C., and is now currently living in Ethiopia. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes, as she said, my name is Imani Yohani Paulo. I'm an African nationalist. I do advocate Swahili language in Africa and in Ethiopia, specifically. We are setting up the foundation as the beginning of the unity of Africa, which is the basic one, is a language. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be with you in the studio today.
Great. So, you did mention some of the things that you're doing with the Swahili. So, what exactly are you doing in Ethiopia?
Yes, I think I came to Ethiopia when the Tigray war broke out. Exactly the same date. That's when I left the US, come to Ethiopia. But it has been in our plan and my plan as well to come to Ethiopia. So what we are doing here in Ethiopia, we are doing three things, but all of those lead to one thing, which is to have Ethiopia adopting Swahili or implementing the regulation to teach Swahili from primary school to universities. So the three things are, one is we are explaining what is Swahili to the mass of Ethiopia who don't possibly know what is Swahili or Kiswahili. Number two, we are advocating Kiswahili, which means that we have to address those who are in positions to pass the regulation that will allow Swahili to be taught from primary school to universities. And the last one is we are teaching Swahili. So this is the last thing we do because we don't have ability or power to teach all Ethiopian Swahili, but we do teach Swahili here and there. I think that's pretty much what we are doing. But also we have created we established the Ethiopian Swahili community, which is the community of people who speak Swahili from Ethiopia, of course. Then the biggest number is Ethiopians, and from other countries that they speak Swahili, which number two, it would be South Sudan. And number three, it will be Congo DRC. And number four is Rwanda. Number five is Kenya. Number six is Burundi. And number seven is Uganda. And Tanzania is supposed to be the last one. But also we have Somalians and Comoros in our community. That's pretty much what we are doing. In our community, we do, as a community, as a family, we do have sometimes events where we bring our people together and we eat Swahili food, we hear Swahili music, and we put on Swahili culture things like clothes, and sometimes we have book shows. So those are pretty much the things we have been doing here in Ethiopia so far.
Oh, that's great. So did you guys have any advocacy work or say so in actually getting Swahili to be the language for the African Union? I know that must be something that was very exciting for your community.
Yes, so we knew before that Swahili is going to be made as working language. You know, since 2011, Swahili has been official language of African Union. Now, when it's become working language, it means that everything has to be translated from any other language being used in African Union to Kiswahili. And I also, it does even talk itself when we talk about African Union and everything is taught in English. It's always back to those who are doing it and they be like, why are we doing this? Why everything is done in French? So yes, we knew people who did that. The delegation, we are working together with Tanzanian National Swahili Council. It's called in Swahili BAKITA, or Baraza la Kiswahili la Taifa la Tanzania. We are also working with University of Dar es Salaam, which is possibly among the top Pan-African institutions in Africa, where many readers actually studied. And the University of Dar es Salaam, the delegation, they are the one who actually pass signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of Addis Ababa, University of Addis Ababa, to start to teach Swahili. But we also further we have took our letter take to Addis Ababa University to tell them that we don't want Swahili to be taught in Ethiopia by using English. We want Swahili to be taught in Ethiopia by using Amharic in effort to protect our own language. Because if we teach Swahili by using English, we are also developing at the same time English. So, but if we teach Swahili by using Amharic or any local language, we are developing that language we are using to teach. So we already talked to them, and we hope that they're gonna listen to what we ask for.
Is that? I mean, I guess when when it comes to languages, it doesn't have a prerequisite language. You can learn a language from any language. So. I don't think that would require any extra work for the university to teach from English to Swahili versus Amharic to Swahili or other languages, like you said, Afan Oromo to Swahili instead. So it shouldn't be no problem, correct?
To teach Swahili by using English, there is a big problem.
No. I'm saying it shouldn't be a problem for local languages to be used.
It should be something actually they should be motivated and encouraged to do, and they see the pride as well, because it's doing two things in the same time. If we are trying to be free, we should definitely try to stay in Africa. This is the good chance actually Ethiopian have to run Swahili, which is the first language actually is going to be taught in Ethiopia. That is not Ethiopian, and also that is not French, or is not from outside of Africa. So I don't know, it depends maybe the policy and the memorandum of understanding between the University of Dar es Salaam and the University of Addis Ababa University, but we believe that they should listen to what we said. It will bring more, it will make Swahili to be more easier to learn. That's number one. Number two, it's going to give jobs to people who does speak Swahili and Amharic only, that's going to be Ethiopian, by the way. If they do by English and teaching Swahili by English, possibly Ethiopian people are not going to get those jobs. So we're trying to protect our Ethiopian also to get the jobs on Addis Ababa University. If it be adopted all over Ethiopia, now we cannot have many people who speak. In that case, we will have to use English. But Addis Ababa University, they should be able to use Swahili, teaching Swahili by using Amharic.
Okay. All right. Great. What is the difference between Ethiopia and other African countries? I think you told me before that you've lived in several African countries. Which countries have you lived? What are some of the highlighted differences that you see between Ethiopia and other African countries?
Yeah, so let me tell this to my fellow Ethiopians and those who love Ethiopia who have not been to Ethiopia. I don't love to praise people or countries, because if someone praises you, obviously that means they want to keep you where you are. But if someone criticizes you, they are giving you challenge. They are telling you that there is next step you can go through. So I'm not gonna be able to praise any country. I'm just gonna tell the things that Ethiopians and the Ethiopian government and the Ethiopian in systems, they should try to work on to change. And the other countries as well, I'm going to mention those. Now, the praising part, if I have time, I can definitely talk about that, but today I'm not going to do that. So I lived in Tanzania, I lived in Kenya, I lived in Rwanda, I lived in Burundi, Uganda, and Congo, and Ethiopia now. So I have possibly good understanding. And beside that, I lived in India and US. And then in the US, I lived with so many African people. So like from Nigeria, Mali, Malawi, Zambia, South Sudan, Somalia, Eritrea, and so on. So I have a kind of little understanding when it comes to Africa. Now, The difference between Ethiopia and other countries I have lived in, one thing I can tell, and I think Ethiopians have to change this, is how Ethiopia is very, very close. Okay? So it's completely difficult to come inside. To access Ethiopia is very difficult, possibly more than America. Yes, people does go to America often. And it's even worse because Ethiopia is close to Africans. This is supposed to be the home of all Africans, but Ethiopia is close to Africans than to Chinese. If you count the number of Chinese who live in Ethiopia, and you count the number of Africans from outside of Ethiopia who live inside Ethiopia, you will be shocked that the number of Chinese are more, possibly 3 or 4 times more than the number of Africans who live in Ethiopia. And you can see the traveling between China and Ethiopia is very far away compared to the traveling from Botswana to Ethiopia. You know, so Ethiopia is very, very close. And for another example for that one, I can tell you that you can live from Kenya, Nairobi, that's in the east coast, whole way to Kinshasa, that's DRC Congo, in west coast. The ocean, from one ocean to another one, in a bus. You can live from Kinshasa to Juba in South Sudan, and from Juba to Bujumbura in Burundi, or from Juba to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and so on. You can do all of that. But there is no one single bus is going to take from you from Addis Ababa to Nairobi, which is, you can compare, if you compare from Nairobi to Kinshasa, is you will say, that's the place you can throw the stone and you will be able to go there. So there is no one bus goes there. There is no direct bus. There is nothing like that. I don't even think it's even possible. And there is no one bus can leave from here to Kampala, Uganda, or even, I don't even think there is one in from here to Juba. I don't think so. So you can see how difficult it is. Now, why is that the case? One is that in Ethiopia, if you want to come to inside Ethiopia from Africa, you must have passport. It doesn't matter if you're from Somaliland, doesn't matter if you're from Eritrea or Djibouti. By the way, all the food we eat here comes from Djibouti. Most of the material we use, they come from seaport in Djibouti. And so you have to have passport, which is not the same case if you want to cross from Tanzania to Uganda, or from Tanzania to Rwanda, or from Rwanda to Uganda, or from Rwanda to Kenya.
You don't need passport? You
don't need a passport. There is these things you can pass by there. They're going to write something for you. You say, okay, I'm going to be there for 3 days, 10 days, or whatever it is. Then you go there, then you do your business. When you finish, if you're taking avocados, you take your injera there, you finish to say your injeras, maybe afternoon, you come back home. Here, there's no thing like that in the place. And another thing is even when you come by passport. Sometimes my fellow like Tanzanians and other countries, it's not, I don't know if it's all the countries, but I think Kenya may have some kind of framework between Kenya and Ethiopia, but other countries, if you come, I think you have to go to the embassy to apply for visa to come to Ethiopia. So you can look, it's very bad to other people to come inside Ethiopia, but also it's very bad to Ethiopian to go outside of Ethiopia. I have my friends, they said they need a passport. And
so you're saying our system when it comes to traveling within the, within the continent, our policy is not as friendly as the others, and vice versa. We, even for our own citizens, because I think, Ethiopian passport holders can only go to certain African countries without, without needing something from the embassy here. And I don't think that has anything to do with the actual country. I think it has to do with the policy that Ethiopia has.
Definitely, it's a system. Yeah. It's a system that you need to have a passport in order to leave this country as an Ethiopian citizen.
Well, and the passport, that's the only means is through the airport.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that is very, very bad. Okay, why? One, our people, some of our citizens, they don't even know what is passport, okay? We, the elite ones, we may know what is a passport and how to apply for visa and go there and here. but they don't know. The price is cheaper, possibly is something maybe a lot of Ethiopians can afford. 600, if I'm not mistaken, to have Ethiopian passport. But the other thing is that you cannot go and apply for passport and they're going to ask you, where are you trying to go to? You know, if you don't have a letter of invitation to go outside of Ethiopia, they're not going to give it to you. What in the world who does that? I want my people to go to say this Injara to Kampala.
So you can't get your passport and just...
No, you cannot.
Just to have it?
No, this is not America.
To be ready.
No, this is not America. In America, you just apply for passport. Yeah. You have how you have your matokia. And it has a lot of impacts economically, because obviously I would love to eat ugari or mihogo, which is cassava in English, from Uganda, from Tanzania, from Kenya, from Congo. There is a lot of food over there we need to eat here. And there is also a lot of food here that people should enjoy to eat for two other countries, Injera or Dorwats and Kocho and all of that. So I think Ethiopia need to work on that. That is number one. They need to be able to have the open door to people who want to come and do small business. You don't have to be an investor to do some of those small jobs. You know, one time I was in Uganda, as I said, I lived there. In Uganda, when you see on the street, you see all kind of plates. Anyone drive in Uganda. Nigerians are in Uganda, South Africans are in Uganda, Rwandans are in Uganda, Congolese are in Uganda, Eritreans are in Uganda, Ethiopians are in Uganda, Kenyans are. Everyone is in Uganda, and they are minding their business. Everyone is doing. There is possibly no peaceful country around more than Uganda, you know. So and people would say maybe there is drug dealers and so on. I don't think this is something we should be looking for. I think people, when they come to your country, most of the time, if someone can think to leave his country and come to next country, 90% those people are good people. They are not going to be involved in drugs. Maybe they want to just find life. They are trying to migrate and find life. So I think Ethiopia should be able to figure out that part so they can release people coming and coming out for Ethiopia.
Have a more friendly policy of letting people in and out, especially in the African continent. I think there was an agreement signed to do business within African countries. You think that is going to influence some of these changes that you're talking about?
You mean the African continent of free trade area?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to lower that. Why? Because let me talk about something that maybe I did not like to talk about, but is it true? The first country two top countries produce wheat that we consume in Africa is Ethiopia and South Africa. Those the top countries that produce wheat. Now, the top countries produce wheat globally is Ukraine and China and Russia, globally. So those are internationally. When you go outside of Africa, those are the ones. And the first country in Africa that bring, I don't know which one to choose, if it's import or export, I don't know, but I think it's import. Most of the country imports wheat is Egypt. The most of country imports Chinese wheat is Egypt. Think about that. The first country to produce wheat in Africa is Ethiopia. It's very, very close from Ethiopia to Egypt, okay, than from Egypt to Russia. Why don't we do trade between one country and another? Another example is Gambia and Senegal. The most of product that you're gonna find in Gambia is inside the Senegal, okay? They are from England. Most of product, like the most of business between England and the Gambia is the top one. And also, the most of business or partner in business between Senegal is France. It's not Gambia, and Gambia is not Senegal.
So Gambia's is England and Senegal's is France.
Yeah.
Okay. So they do the business while Gambia and Senegal do not.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, those two of them, they don't do business between themselves. So this African continental free trade is a good idea, but I don't think it's gonna work. Why? Because there is already barrier of language. Who colonized who? The difference between Gambia and Senegal is only who colonized who. The same ethnics. They cross from. You can cross from Gambia, Senegal in the north, all the way to Gambia, and then you go through Gambia, then you go to another part of Senegal. It's the same ethnics, the same people. They look the same. They have the same history, except when it comes to who colonized who. So this idea of language, colonize the language, is another problem. I think it's gonna have to destroy the African continental free trade. Another thing is on that is the budget. Nana Akufo-Addo, president of Ghana, he announced that, but he did not announce the budget to do that. So who is gonna finance that? Because if you have a vision but you don't have a budget for that vision, it's definitely not gonna work. So I think that it's a good idea, but I don't. Me personally, I don't have a lot of hope on that it's gonna work, because I don't see that working at all.
Because it doesn't have budget.
It does not have budget and does not even have the ground, which is a language. People cannot trade unless they can communicate.
Okay, well, that's a very important point. So we must have a common language to communicate. So we talked about some of the things that Ethiopia is, could be doing differently. What is it something that you admire about Ethiopia? Any policies that you think is different from other African countries that you appreciate, and you feel, it kind of fulfills your Pan-African views?
I think that nowadays, this is possibly even back in days, Ethiopian people, when they see you from outside of Ethiopia, they respect you, they honor you, and they will be very interested to know who you are, and something like that. It's a kind of humanitarian things or human being behavior that I found in Ethiopia possibly honoring compared to other countries. So they are going to be interested. In other words, they are very, very hospitable. That's how you can say. So that is number one, which is, maybe you can call that the spirit of Ubuntu. That's how I hear people saying. We should possibly teach other countries. There are some countries I have been to. People are very, very rude, especially when they know you're not from there. They don't even take care of you serious. So that is number two. This is the government people. In Ethiopia, I found this to be very, very interested. You can definitely, it does not take a lot of efforts like other countries to meet the leaders. If you want to meet the minister, here in Ethiopia, if he will take you like maybe 5 years in Cameroon, here in Ethiopia, maybe it's going to take you 2 or 3 days. So our leaders that we have in office, even if they're not going to help you maybe, or they're going to help you, but there is a lot of access to the leaders. I think this is something I do appreciate for all you leaders of Ethiopia. Please, I give you a lot of applause for that. You can people can reach you out. Very, very, you are accessible. And this one, I get this from Nyerere, by the way, the first president of Tanzania. He was among the people you can access easily, even though he's a president. So citizens, the bottom ones, can access leaders in any area without a lot of problems. And you can see that even when it comes to the security, a lot of people, last time I went to see I went to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I have a letter I was giving, and then when I was sitting in a lobby, Dina Mufti, the speaker, he's excellent, and he walked outside, and then he went to Hilton Hotel, So there is no security, for the speaker person, So I think that is one of the things, the quality that Ethiopia have, you cannot find these other countries at all, okay? I don't care which country you're going to tell me about. I have done it before. You cannot meet ministers other countries. And Ethiopians, please keep it up. It's very important because that shows that you know the problems of your own people. Okay, if people can reach you out, and you don't go in hiding cars that no one see who's inside, but you're walking on the street, people can possibly talk to you and tell you, hey, you know what, Mabratialem on my home, you know, or Uhayalem, you know, people can talk to you. So I think that's one of the other things, and there is more, of course, I can talk to you about, but I think that's pretty much what we can say.
Okay, thank you, Imani. Before we wrap up, want to mention what you think about, land ownership. One of the things that we've discussed before is about how, in Ethiopia, foreigners cannot own lands. And I don't know, if this policy has been to protect Ethiopians, or has it been to protect from colonial powers from before, or what? But what do you think? Because this is something that not every African country has. What are your views about other countries' land policy when it comes to Africa in general as a Pan-African?
Yeah, so this I'm gonna be very, very specific, and thank you for this. It's a very good question. One is that Ethiopia is good, but we need some twists change on this policy. It's not only Ethiopia, you cannot own something unless you're Ethiopian. Tanzania is even higher than this.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good
in Tanzania, don't plan to own anything. Don't plan to buy the land unless you are Tanzanian. Okay? So it's very good, by the way, for Tanzanians and Ethiopians as well. Maybe there's other countries in Africa, I don't know exactly. But I'm gonna put finger on some countries here, like Kenya, for instance, or other countries in Africa. Everything is owned by people who are not African at all. Either Chinese, Middle East people, Russians, Americans, England, they own everything. So it is good to keep that. But when it comes to Ethiopia, since this is the home of Africa, this is where every African think they are at home, as I do. I think this policy have to be changed. Africans and African descendants should be able to own everything in Ethiopia as Ethiopian does. And when we go outside, why will Ethiopia not own everything outside of Ethiopia? So that one will apply that after we start from here. This is the home of Africa Union? Yes. So I think Africans should own, if it's the land, if it's a business, if it's a house, if it's a bicycle, if it's a mouse or rat, anything they can own, they should have. The policy should be changed. But now, that means only Africans and African descendants, which means diaspora, for instance, people from Brazil, our fellow people who look like you and me, from Brazil, US, Cuba, Guatemala, Panama, or even over to Middle East, we have families there. So they can come to Africa and buy anything and own it. Okay, this is what I want for Ethiopia.
Well, I mean, we can go to other parts of the world and buy properties. Wouldn't that be racist to not allow other foreigners to own land?
So this, don't confuse. There is different words. When you say racist, racist means that that you have power because of your race. Black people cannot be racist. Okay? Mm-hmm. There is no way one black man or woman can be racist at all. We can hate other race, but we cannot be racist because we don't have power to imply to that racist. So it will not be racist. It will possibly be maybe monopoly, maybe, or something that we only can do because other races they do too. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, they do. They do. The other rest, they do. Like diaspora, they come to invest in Africa. People from like Namibia, they come to invest in Ethiopia. People from Ethiopia, they go and they invest there. So the whole plan is that we keep our own things among ourselves.
Okay. To empower Africa by Africans.
Yes, not that only, but also, you know, everyone is buying Africa. China is buying Africa. European, they buying Africa. I don't know if you know how many hectares China have in Zambia for farming. You know, so why do we allow them to buy our land, but I cannot own a land in Zambia as if I'm from maybe Burkina Faso? Why can I not own a land in Zambia? So I think as Ethiopia, because I always tell people, Ethiopia can be influenced to the United States of Africa. They can definitely motivate people to do that. Maybe they may not be able to do that, but they can motivate people to do that. So as someone who motivates, they should set up example. Hey, you come home. This is your home. Not only bringing a president of Congo and say, hey, welcome to the Africa Union Summit, but Congolese can own nothing in Ethiopia, you know. It's completely not good image, and it does not even sound good. So in my opinion, I think that this thing has to be changed, only restricted to Africans. No, first Ethiopians, of course, and then Africans together with African diaspora, they should be able to own something here, and they should be able to have good, flexible policies for when it comes to investment. Even if everyone that is not African is required for like 20,000 birr to come to invest in Ethiopia, Africans should have no requirement for whatsoever. They should just come and do the business, like in Rwanda, for instance.
Great, Imani. Well, thank you for all the Pan-African ideas and thoughts. Prime Media audiences, this is our 30 minutes with Imani. I'll be back with another guest next time. Thank you.